As a man, most of my life I avoided fictional books until I came across one book that changed my perspective on fictions for the rest of my life, and especially making me fall in love with the classics. And this book was recommended to me by my English course teacher when I was going through a very tough time. And many of you may know this book by the name of The Old Man and the Sea. So today I'm going to read it out to you. The story begins with Santiago, an old Cuban fisherman in the fishing village near Havana. That's not bad luck anymore, that's a curse. Other fishermen whisper it. For 84 days straight, he has caught nothing. Yet he shows up every day for nearly 3 months and falling to failure every single time. People laugh at him. Other fishermen pity him, they call him unlucky. But there was one person who hasn't given up on him, a young boy named Manolin. He used to fish with Santiago. Even the parents of the young boy, who deeply admire Santiago, his parents forced him to fish with another more successful boat. But Manolin never loses faith. Still, every night he sneaks back, carries Santiago's gear, brings him food, talks baseball with him, keeps the old man's spirit fed even when his stomach is empty. Because Manolin knows something the village has long forgotten. 84 days of nothing doesn't erase a lifetime of mastery. Now that is one line. And on the 85th day, Santiago decided to push his luck. On the 85th day, Santiago decided to sail further into the gulf of the stream than anyone else, further than comfort, further than safety. Before the sun even thinks about rising, he rose past the shallow water where everyone else fishes, pushing straight into the deep blue heart of the Gulf Stream. Alone, no Manolin, no witness, just an old man, a small boat, and a line dropped hundreds of fathoms down into the darkness. Sometimes our biggest opportunities live just beyond the place where everyone else turns back. This line always gives me chills. The sea is calm, endless, almost alive. Hemingway describes it as not as enemy but as something to be respected. Santiago loves the sea. He studies its birds, its currents, and its creatures. To him, nature isn't something to conquer. It is something to understand. And hours after hours, something finally answers, something enormous. The line goes tight. It doesn't thrash. He doesn't panic. It just pulls, steady, massive. Santiago realizes instantly, whatever's on the other end of the line is bigger than anything he has ever caught in his life. A giant marlin had taken the bait. It was not just any marlin, it was the biggest fish Santiago has ever encountered. The battle begins, not a battle of strength alone, a battle of endurance. A giant of the deep, it doesn't come to the surface. It does not fight or tire like normal fish. Instead, it simply starts towing the boat. For 2 days and 2 nights, the fish drags the old man across the sea. The fishing line slices into Santiago's hands until they bleed. Santiago hunched, braced, line burning across his back and shoulder. It dragged farther and farther out to the sea. Not for minutes, not for hours, but for days. And strangely, he begins to talk with the fish. He calls it noble, he respects it, he even loves it. Because true competitors don't hate worthy opponents, they honor them. Whether the opponent is another person or impossible goal standing in front of them. Eventually, Santiago realizes something important. The fish isn't his enemy. It simply does what it was born to do, and so is he. Santiago's hands are shredded raw by the rope. His back aches. He didn't sleep He talks to himself just to stay sane, talks to his own hands like a stubborn little child, talks to birds passing overhead, talks to fish like an old friend, even calling it brother, because that's the strange truth Hemingway hands us. That this isn't a war, this is a dual respect between two exhausted, magnificent creatures, each doing what they were built to do. Santiago has no food, but a raw fish he cuts from his own bait. No comfort but the stars, and through it all he holds on. Not because he is certain he will win, but because that's simply what he does. That's who he is when nobody is watching. On the final day of the third day, the Marnil tires. It circles around the boat, rising closer and closer to Santiago, running on nothing but salt and will and salt water. Drives the harpoon home. Santiago gathers his last of strength, drives his harpoon into the fish, and the marlin dies. It is magnificent. Longer than the boat itself, the greatest catch of Santiago's life, it ties beside the boat and begins the journey to home. He has done it, 84 days of nothing, and now tied to the side of his skiff, the biggest catch of his entire life. Bigger than the boat itself, a creature so magnificent that it barely seems real. Victory, or it seems, but that's where the real story lives. Okay, follow for part 2.